All right, hey everyone. We're going to get started. As you can see, we're missing one person, but hopefully Fred will join us soon. So it's good to see so many people interested in gaming. My name's Hung. My background is I've been in GameFi for about 9 months. I was the CMO of a very large Web3 gaming studio based out of Hong Kong. And it's really exciting to be here to talk to all you guys about gaming and to have some really awesome panelists here with us. So I think just to begin with, we'll give everyone a chance to introduce themselves, talk about their project, and then we might get into the questions. So maybe we'll go from closest to me to the furthest panelists. We'll give some intros and yeah, go from there.
Cool. Hey everybody, my name's Blake. I'm the CEO of Cheddar Block Games. What I'm building is a mobile Web3 Steam. So bringing a multitude of games all onto one app. I've actually self-funded the project myself. And to date, we've got partnerships with some gaming publishers who have actually published over 400 games, each ranging between 100,000 to 15 million downloads. And we're actually going to be bringing those games onto my platform. I also have an NFT tied to the project as well. And so I'm also doing something pretty revolutionary. I'm doing the world's first ever, I've actually drunk a lot of tequila last night, and as I'm talking, I'm struggling. But sorry. And I'm doing the world's first ever NFTs as esports teams. And so really sort of taking the model of Clash of Clans, how they introduce clan wars and whatnot, and using that as a really smart retention technique to keep a cult-like player system in there. So yeah, thanks for listening.
Hey, I'm Mark Ode. So I'm co-founder of Blaze Games and the head of growth at Australia Sandbox, New Zealand and Australia for Sandbox. I started out in Sandbox about 2 years ago, basically. I was just a voxel artist. That's how I started out and just grew. The Sandbox gave me every opportunity to forward myself and make myself bigger in the business. From there, I was able to become a leader in the space. I was able to form a game company with my two best mates and make games. That's what we do every day now. We basically make games for the Sandbox. And we made some really big partnerships, made some good money from it as well. And in the last 4 months, I was contacted by Seb as well, and he wanted us to take over Australia and New Zealand and get all IPs for Sandbox and grow the Australiaverse in Australia and New Zealand.
Hello, everyone. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. We're good? All right, cool. Hi, my name's Andrew Wall. I'm not Kieran Warwick. We also drank quite late last night at our sponsored party. I'm host and executive producer at Illuvium. We're building the world's first interoperable blockchain games. We're going to be launching with 3 games. Think Pokemon for adults. We've got our mobile game, Illuvium Zero, where you can harvest fuel that you bring into Illuvium Overworld, where you can hunt and capture alluvials. And then we've got Illuvium Arena, where you can fight those alluvials to the death and repeat that gameplay loop. So what we're attempting to do is be the first game studio to make multiple games that are dependent on each other and interoperable with each other within the Illuvium universe, all, of course, due to blockchain technology. And we want to bring in mainstream gamers. And in order to do that, you need to make games that look as good, if not better, than the games they're already playing in Web 2. So that's why when you go to our booth and you check out our demo, we're going for flashy, shoots you in the eyes with lasers and beautiful art and colors, graphics, because we know that gamers want great games first, and then maybe the blockchain stuff second once they're already hooked and they're coming in for the entertainment. So we're trying to bring mainstream gamers in through that AAA gaming appeal. Thanks for having me.
I just come from another talk. I'm so sorry. I literally just came from one stage to the other. I apologize.
We're just doing intros and project background.
That's great. Whew. My name's Fred Chubesta. I'm one of the founders of Finder, but I'm also one of the key advisors at Balthazar Gaming, which is an NFT gaming platform. We're really working on a non-custodial wallet system so that Web 2 gamers can easily come into Web 3 games. And we think that's probably one of the key unlocks, particularly in-game with like Unity and Unreal. And it's something we're very focused on. Some of this technology is, I think, really fundamental. And I'm very passionate about NFT gaming.
Thank you very much. All right, well, let's jump into our questions then. So the first question really comes down to the players of these games. So we've seen a bit of a shift, a bit of movement between play to earn type games, play and earn, play and own type games. If you guys want to talk a little bit about how you're addressing the customers, the players of your particular games.
Look, so we're currently in development, but I guess like our focus is particularly around Web2 gamers, right? Because what we do is we focus on everyday gamers, and I don't view a difference in Web2 and Web3 gamers. They're just gamers, and at the end of the day, they just understand a different sort of tech. So how we're sort of doing it is like because the platform that we're building, it's focused on Web2 UX and UI, so it just looks like a normal gaming platform. I don't use the words such as NFTs, blockchain, none of that. It's just, I describe it by the function that it serves as opposed to the technology that it's built on. So, for example, if you would like to play this game, please buy one of our game access passes. Or if you would like to play this game and use this weapon, please purchase, one of these weapons cards. So that's sort of our take on it.
So at the Sandbox, basically, we're very, very into play to own, play to earn. We've actually launched our Season 3 Alpha, where we're giving away $1.5 million in sand. There's lots of prizes for people. They're very, very focused on being able to empower somebody who started from nothing and be able to build something from nothing and just keep growing yourself, learning. They want you to be able to have no technicality barriers. So basically, the way you can build anything in this game is it's very, very easy. You can start off like with any kind of knowledge from nothing to experience in gaming. And then basically we want to empower people because there's all these sales that are going on. Basically, you see in every other game, like you buy your skin, but then the next year comes out the next game and your skin is gone and it's worthless basically. So now with these play to own things and play to earn, you can earn these things in the Sandbox, and these NFTs are actually tradable and you get to keep them forever. So say if I got that cool sword that I really like and in a year's time I want to sell it to somebody else, I can totally do that and I didn't waste any money.
Yeah, I mean, we learned a lot of important lessons with Gen 1 blockchain games. One of those important lessons was you can't have inflationary mechanics in things like play to earn and play and earn games. They end up destroying in-game economies. So inflationary tokenomics, where your token can be infinitely printed, or 20 to 30% of your token is just given away to players, it ultimately provides too much supply of that token, driving down the value, of course, and demand can't meet it. And we saw that with so many Gen 1 games. Thank you to all the players that did that. We got to learn those lessons, and we get to improve as an industry. We also learned you cannot infinitely print NFTs. And that also has the same effect, where the supply is too high, the demand cannot meet supply, and so, as we move to play and own, or whatever the heck we're going to call it next, we need to have deflationary mechanics built into our games, and we need to ensure that if anybody out there is thinking about making a game or designing tokenomics models or models like play and own, play and earn, if the thing you're considering doing is inherently inflationary, don't do it. It needs to at least break even or maybe be deflationary in terms of how you're handling the earning and owning aspects of your game. And with the whole play and earn, or play and earn and play to earn era, people came in really to earn and then play, really. They were coming in to make money, and then maybe the game was a caveat after that. So I think in the next generation of games, Gen 2 gaming, we'll call it, over the next few years, the hook is the playing. After you play maybe for free, you get hooked on the game, you get hooked on the IP, then a seamless integration to own everything that you've earned after that. That's what Illuvium is doing. We're going to hook you with the game. It's going to be free to play. You're going to love it. And if you choose to opt in to the ownership, you can. If not, you can just play a regular video game. Mainstream gamers do not want crypto, blockchain, NFTs, all that stuff like you mentioned a moment ago. So let's put that as like a secondary priority and put playing first.
So I was in New York on 2021 in November, NYC NFT, and we were all like, it was like literally a stadium full of JPEG flippers. Like we were all doing it. Let's be honest. And so games were the next hype, and so we went through this phase, and we all made some money from that. We probably also held on to a few, and we lost a bit as well, right? I think what I want to talk about, like second level thinking, right? So the next phase of what did we learn from play to earn? I think what we learned was we can get a huge number of people to actually engage with crypto. We made a massive introduction. That's a really positive thing, right? I think what the play to earn what it also taught us, Bud, is I think there are new models that will come from it because we saw some patterns, right? And I'll give you an example. This is an idea. If anyone wants to take this idea, go for it and build it. But here's my idea: is that imagine if the play-to-earners were NPCs, and we paid them to make the game really awesome. So it did the exact same thing like that we do, but the NPC players were alive. They were real people doing work. They'd logged on. They particularly did that. You know, they were the stall at the marketplace, and we paid them because we paid like we're used to paying for the game, right? So they did this ongoing, continuous work. That's a small example, right? So if you look at like Upwork, Freelancer, and things like that, I feel like the play-to-earn guilds, to a large degree, that's where I think they need to go. They need to reinvent themselves, and I think they are reinventing themselves. So I don't think there's like I understand I'm just being sort of slightly contrarian, but I do think there's some really positive things that have come from that. And I do think that we're going to see some new models, and I think that the model is going to be something around staking and similar to the decentralized nature of how Ethereum and Chainlink as well, and how those are decentralized nodes that do work, right? We need people who want to come and do work. They want to come and do work and make money. So if you decentralize games, what are the pieces of work which they can do? And I think that's where the building block of that play-to-earn thing can build from. And I do think games will be obviously rated upon their playability. That's a given. But I think there's more to it because like 2% of gamers in a game make all the money. It's like 2%. So those 2%, they're going to be the ones that actually go and buy the NFTs and they get into it. And they're going to spend outsized spend way more than everyone else. And I do think their models will continue to evolve. And I think there's some really, really interesting things coming up.
Thank you very much. Sometimes I've played a few games that have been such a grind. I do feel like they should be paying me to play the game. So maybe that's where we can take that. I'm going to shift a little bit to community now. So, you know, a big part of Web3 projects and GameFi is no exception, is the community that you build prior to launching the game and that you maintain as the game is going through its development. Can you guys talk a little bit about like how you guys think through your communities and bring those people into your projects as the sort of like as the game is being developed?
One word: burgers. I'll explain. So I do a lot of live Twitter spaces, and to like keep people engaged and keep people coming back, I actually give away free burgers while I'm on the space to people that just come up, talk with us, and it actually, believe it or not, cultivates amazing community. Feed someone and they're happy. And so I've literally given away about 2,000 cheeseburgers from McDonald's, pretty much since we've been building the community, building the platform, and it's worked really well. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it, but that's just probably the one point I want to touch on because conscious of time. So, burgers.
I'd say for us, community building is on the forefront of Sandbox. Basically, every single build we do is always going to be community focused. It's how I've built on all our builds, how we started our company. Our first big IP was an NFT project called Gutter Cat Gang, and we leveraged their community. They grew with us, and we grew with them, self-promotion. And that's how Sandbox has grown really well, I think, with all these big partners. That's how we've landed people like Atari. That's how we've landed people like Bored Apes, all the big NFT projects have seen, because we were very, very focused on community building out what they want to build for their team, building out what their holders want to see and experience for them and where they want to hang out. It's all about community in the end because this is what it's all based off. The NFTs are based off community. Basically, the reason you're getting into this group is because you agree with what these other people are doing, you agree with what their thoughts are and what they want to try and do together, and you want to try and achieve that with them. And the only way to do that is through community building.
That's fair. I think there's 3 key things with community, if we're being honest. If you get that initial community early, the early adopters, it ends up being a great customer retention initiative, and it helps you reduce marketing costs when you don't want to burn all that runway when you're developing your games early. And so having people come in that are true believers and will go out and spread the message. There'll be YouTubers, streamers on social media doing Twitter spaces, marketing your game for you. Thank you. You just saved us millions of dollars in marketing, and now we can spend those millions of dollars on actually making better products and better games. So community building can be great just for business, right? Like if you want to look at it as an ice cold corpo. The second part is if you have a DAO and you have a governance process, your community is literally your board of directors, essentially, if not more, where they make decisions about your tokenomics, your game balance, when things are launching. That's something that's unheard of in Web2 gaming. It's just not a bunch of people yelling on Twitter at some gaming executives hoping they'll pay attention and fix balance for whatever character they like most. You actually get to make core decisions through governance. Huge, huge just shift in community building. Cheeseburgers is brilliant. Our community manager over there, Rich, steal that idea. And then, and then the last part is borrow. Sorry about that. And then the last part is validation and sort of like I call it bandwagon effect. So if mainstream gamers largely think NFTs, blockchain, crypto, all this stuff is a total scam, because that's what they've heard from the mainstream media, it does provide validation if these communities have millions of followers or hundreds of thousands of followers. The bandwagon effect shows validation that at least hundreds of thousands of other people or millions of other people have looked at this, thought it's legit, at least I'll give it a try. And so your community can help you build those numbers and that bandwagon effect, which can help ease some of those tensions that mainstream gamers going to have coming in.
Some amazing points. You know, when I think about community, I just sort of chunk up a bit. Like crypto as a total pool is very small. Like we're actually the minority, right? Like people who understand it and are into it. Oh, everyone here who's here, like a big shout out to you because you're so early. It's insane. Like I remember when the internet was building, 2000, 2001, we were still doing POP3 accounts, we were doing hosting, domain names. It was all really hard. And now it's relatively easy, right? Everyone's in. So when I think of the community, like this is the beginning of the macro community that you're a part of, right? And if I was to add one tip, and obviously this is my thought on communities, when you join something, have something to bring. Like have something to add. Bring something and add something to the community, whatever it may be. It might be small. Maybe you draw cool doodles and cool pictures about what's going on. Maybe you, you know, not only have great cheeseburgers, but you've got great fries and you send them along as well, right? You know, or whatever it is that you can potentially add, come and add. Because we, as in terms of the crypto community and everyone who's here and everyone who's in the wider community all around the world, the same thing, we need to make this bigger. We need to grow this. And so if you can bring something and add something, whatever it is, it will help. It'll be amazing.
Maybe just to add on to that, balancing, you know, your community who are there to be players, and then balancing the part of the community that's there as potentially as speculators or other parts of the community. How do you guys think about balancing that in your ecosystems? Do you welcome them all? Do you try and manage that actively? What's your approach for the type of people you have in your community?
Look, I think I just kind of set it up with the team so that we just welcome everyone, and there's something for everyone, right? So I think best way to sort of compartmentalize it is like the Discord, right? So the Discord, there's different areas for different people, and we sort of just have a open door approach where we, like if you're a gamer, we give you, you know, gamer tags. If you're a NFT trader, we give you, like, we talk about NFTs too, but we like separate the chats. So it's pretty much how we do it. We just sort of segment it, and works really well.
So for us, it's basically we try and provide a spot for everyone. If you're into DeFi, we have a staking pool. If you're an investor, you can buy our lands. If you want to rent out lands, as you do in real life, you can rent out lands. If you want to be a creator, you can jump in for free and start creating. And if you want to just be a promoter, you can even do that as well. You can just go on and start playing games, do Twitch streaming, and the Sandbox will support anyone in any facet of the whole thing. They'll try to promote everything. They do sand pools for the staking people. So basically, you know, more sand by staking. If that's all you want to do, you're a financial guy. If you're a creator, there's game jams to win. There's bonuses to get. There's box edit competitions. And then there's a supply of funding to try and get creators in there. All the Sandbox really wants is anyone who's interested in the Sandbox, because you can kind of use it for anything. That's what they're trying to promote. It's not just a game. It's an experience. It's a training thing. It could be used for conferences. It could be used for anything, really. It's anything your mind can be used to kind of create, basically.
I mean, speculators are going to be around in your community no matter what. And the more successful your project is, the more speculators there will be. So embrace the speculation, I suppose, is the only way to handle that. Maybe splitting them off in other areas based on interest, cool, but they'll be around. I guess the point where you really need to be concerned, and maybe this is what you're getting at in your question, is when the amount of token speculation or NFT value speculation exceeds the amount people are talking about your actual game or your game universe. That's where things get unhealthy. And I saw that with ACC. When they were releasing their big game update recently, I looked in all the comments. 90% of the comments were about, is this going to improve token price? Is this going to allow me to earn more? Those sorts of comments. And so it became clear to ACC, of course, they needed to improve their game so that people would talk more about the game at that point. And so if you don't want majority speculators in your community, you need to make a better game. People are going to talk about speculation and token price the majority of the time if that's the majority of the value you're bringing. They're going to talk about your game, your characters, your game universe, the skins, the things they want about your IP more, if that's more valuable than the speculation portion. So anybody out there that sees those token speculation comments and what have you in their Discord and you're wondering, how do I stop this? It's because your product, the non-speculation, the non-financial aspects of your product are not compelling enough for people to talk about it instead of the token price. That's okay. That can be a realization that you need to focus more on your product and developing something that's more compelling. And at Illuvium, we're lucky. Our comment sections are maybe 90% about the game and the IP and then 10% speculation. So we know we're making good decisions right now in terms of focusing on the product. But there's cases where it can be unhealthy and you can swing the other way. And that's just a wake-up call to focus on your product and to go back to basics and realize gamers want a good game. They want a compelling IP. They want characters they can fall in love with. Let's have them talk about that rather than token price. That's actually up to you, not up to them. And you can't tell them to stop talking about what they want to talk about. Your product determines what they're going to talk about and who you attract. That's my opinion.
So I'll just tell a quick story. Jeff Bezos, when he listed Amazon, it was trading, and then the internet bubble burst and his share price went like through the floor. He got a piece of paper and a massive texter, and he wrote, "I am not my share price," and stuck it above his computer. And obviously from the depths of the internet bubble crashing and Amazon's share price, if you were to buy then, obviously you do pretty well. But what I'm trying to submit is, I think long term you want to be an investor, not a speculator, right? That's the kind of people you want backing your project, and they're the ones that are going to stick through these tough zones. And it's really up to, yes, you can come in, trade out, sure, I think it's fine. But I think deep down, there are people who write letters to Jeff Bezos thanking them for putting their kids through college because they believed in him, they believed in his story, and he built a great company. Not only him, but all the people that are with him. And I think there are some great projects here as well, and at this conference here as well. Is you need to choose those projects you truly believe, regardless of the share price. Or the token price. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. Sorry. Share price, token price. So find projects that you believe in, invest for the long haul. If you're a project, you are not your token price. You are what you are building, and build for that long haul. Build for 3, 5, 10 years.
Thank you very much, guys. Okay, so let's get into some questions around tokenomics, which I think Andrew, actually, you talked about it a little bit, but I think this is sort of like at the forefront of sort of like game development right now, right? So we haven't necessarily seen like a tokenomics solution that works for all types of games. How do you guys sort of think about managing tokenomics in your games? Talking about controlling for inflation, controlling for long-term value. Where are you guys at in terms of how you're managing tokenomics?
So when we first started building Cheddar Block Games, we actually were going to use a token Cheddar to basically conduct all the PvP style wager to earn games. But then I did some thorough research, spoke to literally hundreds of people, and because we're not going to have a closed loop system, because we need to pull profit out to effectively fund the business, we decided to switch to a stablecoin model. So the tokenomics for us it's a little bit different in that we now use the token itself in the game for different things that don't necessarily have a direct sort of relationship with the profit that we're pulling out as a company. So it's more or less used now for the nice to haves, such as like power-ups or particular skins in the games or just bonuses that we want to give to people. But at the same time, the reason why I just think it's such a good thing to have a token in the ecosystem is that we can effectively onboard like the first 100,000 users in a very similar style to how Ladbrokes would sort of get people to sign up by giving them a $50 bonus bet, because what we're doing is effectively just giving away tokens. So I don't know, just some food for thought as to how we sort of do it. But yeah, it's probably all I'd like to touch on.
So at the sandbox, basically the way we would probably say with our tokenomics, we probably would say forward focus on giving away tokens to people who are building. Basically, we want to give tokens to people who are doing game jams, who are doing box edit competitions, all the creators, because if you empower the creators will empower the community, and the community will in then turn empower your game. And tokenomics, I don't think anyone's going to get it right in the next 2 to 3 years. No one really knows. Economy's been going on for like how long? People just don't even know cash flow. So basically, your best bet's there. Basically, you just got to keep trying, and you keep going out there, coming up with new ideas. And as long as you empower the creators, that will empower the community. You should have a pretty good game.
Yeah, I can't take credit for our tokenomics model. Kieran led that. He's doing something drastically different than everyone else is doing. Maybe it blows up. Maybe it works out. We don't know. But we're not doing whitelists. We're not doing pre-sales. We're not doing play and earn and having like 20 to 30% of our tokens earned by players. We're not having infinitely printable NFTs. We're doing the direct opposite of all of that. Fair launch, everybody gets everything at the same time. No tokens giveaways. Our NFTs are inherently deflationary. Like our alluvials, if you want to combine multiple of them, create a more powerful one, you're literally burning multiple NFTs to make a new, more powerful NFT, decreasing the supply of NFTs to ensure long-term value of those. And we're doing them by season. So you can only collect them, for a certain amount of time, or there can be some time gating or whatever that mechanic can be in other people's projects, so that you can't collect certain NFTs forever. Rarity is important for collectability. Like, remember Pokemon, like the original, when it was Pocket Monsters? Like thousands of dollars. These collectibles go for thousands of dollars for these early promotional cards before it was even Pokemon, right? Rarity matters, and that drives long-term demand and like the emotional attachment. And the one thing Illuvium's doing that's kind of crazy, Kieran's words on that, is revenue distribution. So people that stake their tokens, not only do they earn like normal staking rewards like you'd see in other protocols, but there's this sort of like a dividend stocks almost, or profit sharing sort of mechanic, where any revenue in the Illuvium economy, anything anybody buys ever does in the economy, all that revenue goes back to the stakers, back to your wallet. So players actually own the protocol. Players can get a piece of the action. So anytime that players buy something in the Illuvium economy, they'll actually get a piece of it back, essentially by owning a portion of the economy through revenue distribution. These are new ideas. These are different. It's not the standard model, but we've seen that a lot of things about the current standard, like copy-paste model a lot of projects are doing, didn't work very well in Generation 1 games. So we're trying out new things and hoping as like maybe a Generation 2 crypto game, some of these new ideas can work. And then other projects, mainstream gaming, etc., can borrow those ideas. Hopefully some of it works. So we're doing a lot of things different at Illuvium. Deflationary over inflationary is the big major change.
I think tokenomics are really hard, and but let's talk about what is working. I think token utility and a continuous expansion, like I think what you're talking about there, and continuously adding more and more things that can be done with a token. Like, let's talk about the moment. I don't know if everyone remembers when BNB was, and I don't know, I'm not sponsored by Binance or anything, but like, remember when BNB was just the exchange token? If you read the original white paper. And then they proposed they're going to build a chain and all those kind of things. That was an extremely bullish sign for Binance Coin. And that continuous utility and building upon the coin, you want to find a team that's going to do that, right? That's what I believe in. If it's a team continuously adding new features and functionality, and they're going to execute and go live, they're going to build some techniques and tactics that will actually, take coins in, create sinks, and you'll reduce supply, right, to a large degree. I think another thing I think about with token utility is the closer in spectrum you can get to decentralizing something, I feel like the more value the token has versus the centralized, whether it's, I should say this, but the DAO, or like DAOs are progressively becoming more decentralized, but as a project becomes more and more decentralized over time, I feel like the coin becomes more and more valuable. So let's take Binance Chain again. and Chainlink with its nodes. Those moments when projects become really, really decentralized and that progression goes further and further towards that, where the community owns more and more of it, the token becomes more and more valuable. And I feel like those are the kind of things I think are important, and I think we need more of those kinds of things as well.
Yeah, thank you. Some very, very interesting thoughts there. So this will be the last question until we open it up for the audience, but maybe just from a slightly different angle, I think there's a great crowd here, which is great to see. For people that are looking to get into gaming, whether that's the industry or maybe from a speculative perspective, like what advice do you guys have for people that are looking to get into the industry?
From like just a user perspective, or
I would actually say more from a if they're looking to work in an industry, looking to get involved in gaming, what advice would you have for them?
First of all, it never feels like you're working. You're just having fun the whole time. So if you're thinking about doing it, just jump in. My dad taught me, Blake, love what you do. You never work a day in your life. But that's a very cliche saying. I'm sure all your dads and mums taught you that. But really, like, if you're going to get into gaming, someone that Mika Matsumara, very smart guy, taught me that he always invests in teams when he invests in things. He's invested in like 28 companies, 24 have been like unicorns. Crazy odds. And so his number one focus is always the team. And so I think if you can figure out a team that has the right attitude, which can't be taught, and also have the right skills to pair up with that attitude, and also then have the right capabilities and pair well together and can build something special, that's what I would look for, and I would focus on that. So if you're going to get into any company, focus on the team.
For me, I can only speak from my experience. So I'd basically say to anyone who's looking into Web3, just do it. Just step in there, learn what you can.
You sponsored by Nike?
No, yeah, just do it. Yeah, right. But you should just do it. Honestly, 2 years ago, I was a bar manager. I had nothing to do with art, nothing to do with like that. COVID hit and I lost my job. So I got some money out, invested in Sandbox, became an artist, grew from there, became an art manager. Then I was able to convince my two mates to quit their jobs and do a game jam with me. We got some money from that, became a game studio, and now we're the official Australia-New Zealand partners for them. So honestly, you can go from being nothing to being all the way to the top, basically.
Massive.
I was a bar manager, now I'm the Australian guy for Sandbox.
Shout out to that. That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
That's great. I think there's some really practical things. I went through the whole Web2 cycle as like a kid in my bedroom to making like a gaming network to publicly traded company. What people don't realize as like a new technology emerges is that their regular professional skills they already have are needed by the new technology. But what the organizations need is somebody that understands Web3 in this case. Maybe you're following it, maybe you're chugging podcasts, maybe you're here right now, but you're also an accountant, or you're also a social media manager, or you're also a whatever professional skill. We need people that have regular professional skills, but also understand the space and to come in here. And all you have to do is be proactive, join these communities, be engaging on things like Discord. And the number one thing anybody can do to get a job in this space is to make content. Do Twitter threads, make TikToks, do interviews, do live streams, and build your personal brand as a professional. This is just Web3. You're going to become known through that. People are going to see what you can say and what you actually know about the space through that content. Then we're going to have Web4. And you're going to have your professional brand, and the exact same thing is we're going to repeat over. They're going to need whatever your core professional skill is, plus the new technology. This is going to repeat over and over and over again every decade. So run the playbook that works. I did this with my own personal brand. Make content showing your expertise and showing people you actually know what you're doing. And then you can share that content and connect and tag the brands and the projects that you want. Make content about their brand and about their project. Put the value up front first, and they will contact you and hire you. A bunch of the people that we've hired just made content. They aren't like content geniuses, but they made content, they tagged us, and we found out that they have other professional skills, and we just hired them. So use the power of, let's say, Web2 technology to get Web3 jobs. It works. It's the number one way to do it.
I'm going to share. My friend did incredibly well in the last bull market, and I'm going to share the technique he used. So he was really bored during COVID, and what he did was he bought the top 200 coins, like every single one. Like logged in, went through the decks, downloaded the wallet, and actually clicked all the buttons of every single chain and every single one. And then from there, he went, okay, this one works, this one doesn't work. And he learned incredible amounts, right? And then obviously he collated that all together, sold all the junk, and then formed up around the projects he thought really worked. And I thought that was an incredible technique, right? Like actually use the wallet, actually go through, right? I'd suggest the same thing with games. So go and buy a few axes. I shouldn't say that. I mean,
Not financial advice.
sorry, not financial. I mean, I don't know what to say.
NFA.
Yeah, somehow get your hands on some NFTs, or join a free-to-play game, or join a Discord that you're passionate about, some particular game. This sounds unusual, but very simple games are actually brilliant as well, and that's perfectly fine. I was a relatively I spent a lot of time playing real-time strategy games, and I obviously learned a lot of gaming from that. But every single game you play whatever it is fine. Come and join, because there are other people who are ultra passionate about solitaire, ultra passionate about solitaire. I play a lot of chess. It's again very unusual, but there are people who are very passionate about that as well. So bring your whatever it is, your passion. Come and join, and use my friend's technique ruthlessly. Borrow it, and hopefully that works out.
Yeah, excellent. I'll also just echo the point about community. In my experience, the number of people we hired that were mods in Discord, that were part of our Discord community, that then became active mods, that you bring in, and then you find out they've got those other skills, and they then help with the rest of the company as well. That's something I'll echo as well. So that's all for the formal questions. I think we've got a bit of time for some questions for the public. How do we do this? Do I pick people out from the crowd, or grab a mic and walk around? All right. We'll go 1, 2.
Just a general question for the panel. So gamers are just some of the most stubborn people known to mankind. Anytime a AAA game studio or Discord will roll out NFT implementation, everyone will have a big whinge and a cry, and they'll end up rolling it back. So my question to the panel is, do you think that Web3, traditional gamers, will convert into Web3? Or will it be kind of onboarding a new generation of people who aren't already familiar with, or maybe just educating people about gaming and getting them involved for the first time? So keen to get your thoughts on that.
I think that the way it should work is that we should build technology that is completely frictionless, so that people don't actually have to worry about what technology is behind what they're enjoying playing, right? Like when you go to Amazon doesn't say to you, hey, to buy this toothpaste, you need to input the serial code number, then you need to go to the payment processing system, which, by the way, processes at 50,000 transactions per second, and then after that, we're going to go give it to the freight company. They don't give you all that information, and I feel like that's a letdown in Web3. We talk too much about the tech, right? But I think simplifying it so that it just becomes part of the technology that we're using, I think that's how we're going to onboard the next billion, and I think the people that do that first will be doing pretty well. But that's how I think it'll go. But then again, there's education around it as well. That's definitely doing Binance wonders. I think Binance has done so well because they just provide so much education around people to just come into crypto in general, right? So I think platforms that also offer education, we're going to be able to educate Web 2 people about Web 3 as well. But yeah, I prefer the first way.
So in my opinion, I pretty much have the thinking, is this a teething issue, to be honest? People just don't know about it. People said 10 years ago, no one said, oh, I'm not going to have a mobile phone. Everyone thought only rich people had mobile phones. And now today, you won't find anyone that doesn't have a smartphone almost. So it's one of those things that technology rolls out slowly over time. People are always adverse to it. There's always going to be naysayers, because people get jealous as well. Someone might make a lot of money, and then that other person down there is like, how did they make so much money off something like that? And then speculation and all these other things get brought into it. It's just a teething issue, in my opinion. And as we go along, more people get education about what's happening. They figure out, oh, this is not actually just a thing called an NFT. It's a actual piece of technology where I can say, you own this, and because you bought my ownership of my NFT, I can reward you in any way I want from my community. It makes it a seamless experience, basically. I don't have to go through all these loopholes, all these governments, all these middlemen that cost me an extra 50 grand to give you what I want to. I can just click a button and say approve, and it gets sent out to everyone I want.
Yeah, so I have a way different position on education. So I've asked people this question. Everybody's like, we need better education. I completely disagree. So education works on all of you guys that are here at the Australian Crypto Conference and are keeners that are really, really early on the space. You guys want education on this technology. You are 1%. 99% of people don't want education. They just want great experiences. They want apps that are awesome. They want games that are amazing. And they just want to play the freaking game. They want the game, their Web2 gamer wants the game to look exactly the same, if not better than the one they're already playing, and be at least comparable, if not better. And they don't care about the education portion. So I think when people in this space say we need better education, they're saying that because they got in here because of education. You're the 1%. The 99% don't want to learn about NFTs, blockchain, and crypto. They'd rather do anything else but that. So I completely disagree with that. You need to make experiences that are better than Web2 experiences. You go to that website, the button is play. Just download now. Nothing about crypto NFTs. And then maybe the education part can be on the back end, and maybe a tiny percentage of people want to learn about the tech. How many Web2 gamers out there have really wanted to learn about Amazon Web Services or Unreal Engine? Like nobody. And I think the same thing will be the case in our space. Just my opinion, though.
I would have to say I agree with that, but it's just like I think that's why I was saying the teething issues. It's more like as people learn about everything, like that's a really easy experience now. That is a play button thing. Yeah, exactly. Like, I can just go do that now.
If through the experience it's super easy and they have that aha moment of, oh, I own that. Yeah. But like them listening to like a 3-hour podcast of tryhards like us, like explaining why it's good. I don't think that they want that. But I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
Maybe I'll give a parallel. I think we're just very early. Let's go back in time to when the Nintendo first came out. I don't know if anyone remembers the Nintendo. The Nintendo was seen, when it very first came out, as a toy, as a kid's toy. It's like this fun little kid's toy, that's really nice, cool. Some kids like to play it. And people just never imagined where Nintendo would go in the future. And all the people that have played the Nintendos, Game Boys, Switches, 64s, the continuous reinvention of that company is incredible, right? And if you look at even the small history, like CryptoKitties was a toy. It was kind of a toy, really, which actually gave the beautiful birth ground and genesis of the next generation, which we saw and we are seeing right now with NFT games. And I think that's what it'll continue to be. Like things start as toys, and then eventually they become like real mainstream things that everyone goes and uses. And I think that's the same thing that's happening here. And I think NFTs will do the same thing.
Thank you very much, everyone. Unfortunately, I've been told that we're going to have to get off the stage, so we're not going to have any more time for questions. Please thank our panelists. Thank you very much.
I've got a few shirts.